Hello there folks, this is Ferengi on board again. Welcome to my YouTube channel, a place where I discuss different topics about spirituality, game design, deeper introspection, dream interpretation and many other things that people might actually find difficulty, or at least a bit of difficulty in understanding, and I provide different points and ideas that I have acquired through my wisdom. And also I wish to remind people that these are interpretations based on my own experiences. So this video is gonna be about playing video games, kind of a continuation of the last video I did on video games. And the point about this one is why people might find it a bit difficult to give up video games. And this is something funny that, well, I finally called it the hero in the wrong universe, or hero in the wrong world syndrome. Okay, this is something that has been going through us for most of our lives every time we play video games, especially RPGs, because nowadays it is a very powerful marketing system that you trap people, or actually you don't trap them, you actually have them trap themselves in their own ideas, in their own illusions. I've spoken in previous videos of mine, you can see them on my channel, the previous few videos on spirituality. I spoke about video games, life as being a video game as is, and of course we can actually see that there are two types of people: the players, who are going through more introspection, they are trying to understand things within themselves, they are they are trying to figure things out, and they are always questioning things. Well, not necessarily always, but more or less. On the other hand, you have the NPCs, the people who just sleepwalk and do what their basic coding allows, exactly like NPCs in a video game. The only thing they do is, well, what their code allows. The point is, both players and these NPC people have the same code. It's all about awareness. Okay, awareness is something that denotes how much you actually live life, because life equals awareness. People, for example, who are negativistic, they only wish and impose on themselves that they experience life at a much lower vibration, which is that of drama creation. Okay, their whole life is a theater, and each and every event in their life is something that they actually stage. Okay, this is not something necessarily bad. Okay, it is what people actually choose to it's what people choose to actually experience. Now the point about this, it's a choice that you don't have any power against. Okay, no one is here to change anyone else's opinions and ideas. So the idea of perception is, well, one of the most important things that will denote how much you actually live your life. And that is why some people are inexplicably happy, and to people who are of lower vibration, it's always gonna be a question why some people can simply be fulfilled in life, and they're always happy with what they have. Okay, now video games, as I've explained in previous videos, they are a different world that you're actually experiencing, because, as I said, life equals awareness. Okay, that is why another video of mine, I presented the idea of life cycles as I see them. Each and every day is basically a life cycle. You wake up, you're technically alive, you've woken up back into this life, and when you go to bed and you sleep, you're journeying through different dimensions of your mind. And if you get conscious of that or not when you wake up or while sleeping, okay, that means that you are becoming more and more aware of different things within you. There are thousands of dimensions within the mind, and each and every one of us can have even several hundred parallel lives. So the point about this is, when you actually go to bed in this world, you actually wake up in other worlds, and basically you go through cycles of life from one to another. And well, it's kind of hard to explain for people who want to understand this logically. There is no logic behind this, because it is beyond the comprehension power of the mind, as I've explained in previous videos. Trying to understand things with the mind, but those things being beyond the mind, it's always gonna be impossible. The moment you attach meaning to something, you're making it usually you're making it much smaller than it actually is, because you're limiting it to a sense that theoretically should make sense to your mind. But it's like you're naming something, you're giving some things, you're giving them name, and then you feel you have power over those because now you know how they are named. But naming a tree like that doesn't give you any power against it. Sure, you can actually cut it, but you can cut the tree, or you can hug the tree, or you can simply admire the tree as it lives with its life and minds its own business without actually giving it a name, right? So meaning in video games is very powerful, okay? Also coupled with awareness. When you start playing a video game, it's like falling asleep. You're technically falling asleep in this world because your awareness switches to that, okay? It switches to that universe where you actually start to experience. We can only experience a certain dimension through a certain body that is specifically adjusted to that dimension. Just like when you dream, you have different dimensional bodies that you experience those dreams with. And when you are alive, you experience this life thankfully and only thankfully to the body that, well, you inhabit, okay? That body lives in the consciousness of who you are, and, well, as I said, the body living in the consciousness that you are allows a facet of yourself to experience life as you are experiencing it right now. So being a bit more grateful for whatever your body is silently going through in order to make its best for you to actually have the best possible experiences, well, that could actually be a much better practice, and it will actually help you more and more to become more lively. Becoming more lively and more aware in video games is much more important, instead of just being like a machine hitting a few buttons. That's not how you play games, and I actually made a very long video, I think it's around 30 to 40 minutes, on how to be a gamer, and that's how to be a fully fledged gamer, but that's also for real life, because I treat real life as a video game as well, and also for, video games as well. When you get into video games, okay, most of them, especially RPGs, give you the impression, and they allow you to immerse yourself in, and they give you the impression that you're suddenly the hero who is saving a different world. Surely it's the same thing that you could do in here, but here it's much more work to do in order to become a hero, to become well known and actually enjoy a lot of the rewards and, let's say, a lot of the happiness that can be experienced in this world. But most people just choose to do simple things, and that's why their lives get hard. And as their life goes hard, well, they will start moaning because they wouldn't want to do much more. Their awareness simply does not allow them to bypass certain levels that they have to experience for a long time in order to grow spiritually. In the case of players, usually players are much more aware, but unfortunately they will end up creating their own challenges, okay? They create their own challenges, their own limitations, their own problems, but each spiritual level has their own challenges, just like in video games each level is a challenge on its own, or at least it should be. Now, why did I finally call this the hero in the wrong world syndrome? Because most people build attachments towards video games. Video games, when you have this impression that you want to be the hero in that specific game and you find it hard to give up a certain game, it's because the game is actually playing you, and, well, it's technically not necessarily that, it goes much deeper. Technically you're creating pain within yourself, and pain means the lack of something, which is usually self-love. When you have a lack of something, you're most likely gonna invite a lot of parasitic entities, and those entities will grab more and more control over you. That is why you create attachments. You dislike your life and you want to use anything as a drug activity, or namely anything that would keep you away, or it will keep you distant from the so-called problems, giving you the impression that you have a control over those, and no longer being conscious of those, you finally have the impression that you have gone over those problems. But no, they're still gonna be there, and they're still gonna wait for you to solve them, and most likely they will become more important. critically important, and well, things like that. Now, the thing about video games, I'm not trying to demonize them. You'll probably most likely never find me judging something, because I simply cannot judge. I do not judge. Although yes, I am a judgmental person, of course, but the point is, I do not impose judgment on others. It is just an idea that I embraced a short while ago, because I don't want to spend my time judging things. To judge something means that you know everything about that situation, and usually knowing everything about a certain situation is kind of difficult to achieve. So the gaming communities are comprised of a lot of people, unfortunately, who have a low self-esteem and who simply use video games to escape from their life. And you can see that in some of the most toxic communities. Irrespective of those communities being toxic, okay, they are living hells. People just go there because they just want to be abused. The reason why you are losing a lot of games is because you want to be abused. Your low self-esteem makes you that you want to lose basically every game, and you're also at the same time making like awkwardly absurd claims and expectations that you will win all the games. In reality, you are actually making the expectation to lose all the games because of your low self-esteem, and you can actually catch glimpses of your voice telling yourself that, hey, I'll lose all the games, and that's what most likely happens. And you're gonna be pitted against players who take somewhat greater care of themselves, or may still be of your same vibration, but they are always thinking about how to ruffle stomp other people. So this gaming community usually is comprised of masochists and sadists. There are those players who just train a few characters, become somewhat one-trick ponies, and the only thing they want is to simply stomp over the others, always being tryhards, even in the areas where people should just learn. Okay, and these tryhards usually give up the ranked parts, because in order to play ranked in any game, you actually need an unassailable self-esteem. Okay, you need to understand that you don't need to attach yourself to the game and to the outcome. You just need to simply experience it. Okay, you're just gonna press a few buttons and you're just gonna use some logics. That's the whole point of the game. Sure, you're gonna add a lot more juice to it, you're gonna add a lot more importance to it, just because it's that juicy set of lies that in the end parasitic entities in your mind are gonna feed you, and you're gonna accept because, well, your low self-esteem will impose that you want to be abused. And those parasites also will want you to be abused because, well, you want to be abused, right? You're in a low self-esteem mode. This is probably some kind of karmic debt payment, yes, but at the same time you can also make additional karma, because pain equals trauma and trauma equals karma, just like literally everything else, because karma means memory. Now the point about this is, I don't know if we should actually become too deeply entrenched in spirituality, but the point about games is that the way I see video games is as one of the greatest ways of becoming introspective. Okay, judge each and every action of yourself in the sense of always questioning your ideas. Okay, always question your points, always question different thoughts that you have. Okay, why did you kill that NPC? Why did you want to choose that path? Okay, was it a thought of yours? Was it something that simply came into your mind? Okay, was it some kind of parasitic infiltration? Was it kind of your guidance, probably? Like, for example, in my case, video games actually elevated me to a level in which I realized that a path of mine in life is video game design, not necessarily development. That's something that I might dive more into later on, but for now, design. Because as I've been working on my video game for almost 16 months, all I can say is that I'm becoming actually better, and I'm creating actually more intricate stuff. Now, the point about video games is that very, in a way, let's say a game that's been plagued by contrasting opinions, namely Under a Simulator. This game has been my wake-up call to game design, and yes, it might sound strange, but I was actually divinely guided towards this game. Yes, probably it's gonna sound strange for others, but I'm not saying this for other people to judge. I'm just saying this for people to simply understand that each and everything has its own purpose. And the fact that you're playing a certain video game and you've most likely become attached to it is just a set of lessons that you have to learn in life, okay? Because video games, imagination, dreams, they are separate parallel worlds that we actually live in, okay? And parallel lives, okay, are things that can actually change. Through this lifetime that you have, you may actually perish in other parallel lives. So many more can actually be started, so many more can actually end, and the video games that you're playing are just another type of parallel reality, okay? When you join a video game and you start playing, it's actually a different reality. As I said, awareness equals liveliness. The more aware you are of things, okay, and it's usually much more aware to be in games than in real life, because in real life there are so many more things happening. The point about that is when you play a video game, you're technically living it, okay? You're probably not as aware of that. Like in my case, I know I've had this habit of actually living the games instead of just playing them. But well, as I said, it's all about the pleasure of enjoying life. Life is all about experiencing, okay? So the point is, I call this funnily the heroing the wrong world syndrome, not because playing video games or even using them as a drug activity would be something necessarily bad. It can be actually in a way a deterrent thing, you know. It can actually inhibit you from experiencing this real life, okay? Video games are also real in the end, because everything that you're experiencing is real. Even if you have distorted perceptions to a certain extent, that is actually also real. When you hear people that they see ghosts, unless they're actually lying, okay, so many things can actually lead to the opening of a few dimensions, okay? And that's when you actually start seeing weird things like ghosts, different things, usually with the corner of your eyes, phantasms or whatever else. Those are actually very real things, but currently, judging by the vibration of people being so low, it is much easier to have them accept that these things are not there, that these things don't exist in reality, because someone needs a very powerful psychological component, okay? If you cannot handle your life correctly, how can you actually handle things beyond you, okay? Like in my case, I've been attacked by entities once or twice. I've been projected upon by a witch, most likely wanting to cause me some trouble so that I would really call for her help and, you know, pay her money for that in return. And I've actually seen a few, well, don't know if I can actually call them angels. I've actually seen beings of light. They kind of seem to be having a, you know, like a light body, and they had some, you know, luminous centers around them, like they were created out of constellations or something like that, different centers of them being like shiny stars. But okay, enough about this. The point about video games is that everything you experience is something that exists, okay? You cannot experience something that cannot exist. Even the idea of hallucinations, those are still something existent. Hallucinations are real. When you have hallucinations, it's just a split second, or it depends, it can be shorter or longer, but it's just an access to a different perception, to a different level of perception, to a different dimension most likely. This is not necessarily something to be proud of, or this is not necessarily something to feel bad about, but the most important and the critical part actually here is your psychological component, because if it is not strong enough to withhold those, you may actually break, and well, if you break, you're gonna feel a spot in the psychiatry ward most likely. Let's say that's not something anyone would enjoy. Now, video games, just like anything else in this world, the more you abuse them, in a way, let's say, the worse they can actually be for yourself, unless you're actually making money. But even if you're making money out of it, there's a whole ritual to it. You're not just needed to play the game for extended periods of time. You have to understand that there are different phenomena, like chronotype, for example, the idea of, you know, when you should sleep, when are your most productive times during the day, when are your least productive times, and always focus on different things based on those. Okay, everything that you eat is also important, because food is just like a plug-in that you're plugging into your body, and it takes many hours to leave your body, but it still unloads information within it. Now, I'm not gonna tell people abandon meat permanently, but the point is everything that you eat will definitely and 100% influence your mood. You will have feelings of anxiety or happiness based on how well your body is feeling, considering how well you treat it. Okay, and that includes how well you sleep, how much you sleep, when you sleep, how you eat things. Okay, because that's also an important process. How much you eat, this is also another critical point. When you eat, how many times you eat, how much you eat. Okay, and so many other things. Living life in here is so much more complex, but not necessarily complicated. It's all about an aspect of letting go. So video games usually have people immersed into them, but as I said, the point, oh okay, 11 and a 9, okay, 911, that's a number that I'm actually seeing quite frequently almost. So the point about this is this: when you have an attachment toward a video game, it means that you don't like a certain part of yourself and you simply want to ditch it and just hide away from it, and abort the problem and avoid the problem, abort resolving the problem. So with video games, it can actually be a good thing, because you can actually use them as very powerful introspective tools, but at the same time it can actually be a problem, because they are a very good pinpointer of how strong and resilient your psychological part is. If you rage a lot, if you quit a lot, if you want to abandon things a lot, it means that you have some work to do with your psychological aspect. And as you improve that, and usually improve this by doubting and actually questioning, not doubting, because I'm sure most people already do that. By doubting, you're not gonna do much, but by questioning your beliefs and your systems, you're gonna actually become much better in time. Okay, you have to understand that not everything that you know is correct, and well, after you start diving deeper into these, you will actually share a lot. You'll actually share things from the universe, because becoming introspective means nothing else than accepting the guidance and the wisdom that the universe has in store for you. Like I have been doing, more like unconsciously, but I'm becoming more and more conscious of this, and I'm also getting and feeling more and more grateful for that. Gratefulness is one of the best, if not the highest vibration possible, but the point is it's not something that will be easily reached. Okay, and being cheerful and grateful for things that happen even in any other life that you manifest, that's when you really can see that you are waking up to your greater potential. Okay, as I said, video games are another life that you're living, and in most situations they can actually override some of your aspects in this life. Okay, like you can be a gentle person in here, but you can be a really great dick in video games. Okay, because video games exploit a different part of yourself, if not the same, but the point is it is a different awareness, so they can actually pinpoint and focus on different aspects of yourself than the ones you are actually using in real life. That's why I'm saying video games can actually be used as a great introspective material. How much you play, how well you play, those are things that are of no importance to me, because those belong to your reflex base, to your knowledge base, to how much you're interested in the game and how much you're actually really playing that game, as I said, and not just using it as a drug activity or a distraction, let's call it like that. So video games can actually be used in different ways, but just make sure that you're not becoming the hero in the wrong world. Okay, this is something that I've been seeing around people. They just seem to dislike change, and every time a game dies or something big happens, their attachments are feeling hurt, because those entities that are controlling those attachments, well, they simply wouldn't easily allow change. and when change happens, it means that you're actually changing certain things. Okay, so you have to understand that attachment means that a certain entity is controlling you through those attachments. You are ceding some of your power, and attachments are like a hack. Okay, your mind is being hacked by certain entities, and when you change, and any change is like an evolution. Okay, it's you're like a character. Okay, you have your own code. Okay, and when you actually allow a change to come to you, you are actually downloading a patch onto yourself. Okay, and when you download a patch onto yourself, the simple point is exactly like in this reality. When you apply a patch to a certain client, the cheats actually have to be remade, because a cheat can only work on the set of variables and principles that are currently usable. If any one of those is changed, the hack usually no longer works. Or it may be adjustable, but it still needs to be adjusted to the next patch accordingly, so that it still has 100% or as close to 100% working compatibility as possible. That is the same case with attachments, because with attachments, well, what can I say? These are like hacks. Okay, your mind is being hacked, and that is why you're having such powerful attachments towards video games. Because a normal human being, and I'm not saying normal like the NPCs, okay, everyone that's doing whatever the others are doing. No, the idea of a human in the normal sense of the saying, okay, cannot simply attach themselves to anything. The human, just like any animal, is almost as objective as possible. Okay, the moment you start giving in to meaning, that's when you actually start becoming hacked more and more, because meaning is a sense of control. And meaning, when you accept meaning, it is one way of accepting the fact that you don't have control over your own life. And that is why you want to control certain things, and you want to have a sense of control over things, and that's why you're probably gonna attach yourself to different video games or the such. When you become hacked, okay, through these attachments, technically you're allowing different parasitic entities to simply experience this world through your own body. That's why the emotions and the feelings that you're manifesting are not your own. Okay, those beings are simply dissatisfied, and well, it's not that they are dissatisfied because of your losing the game. All they want is to keep you in a lower vibration so that it feeds them. And they're getting hungry, they want you to rage, because when you rage, you put out so much pain and distress throughout your whole physical body as well, and throughout your emotional body as well, and they just gorge on all that juicy energy, because it's basically all your emotions are life energy that you're putting out. For every minute that you spend angry, you're actually losing 1 minute of life in which you could have been happy. That's the point. That is why I'm seeking to rage as little as possible in games, and this is something almost fully, fully healed. I still have a few friends that I play with, and I may rarely rage along them, but they are much younger than me, so their vibration can actually influence me in a way. But at the same time, when I play alone, I simply am kind of too objective to simply rage and such. I can now easily understand if a game can be won or lost. Again, each and every moment can decide if a power turn occurs or whatever. But as I said, video games are nothing else than a great tool for introspection. Okay, so all these being said, hopefully you've learned a bit from these. I'm gonna discuss more about such topics in other videos. For the moment, I prefer creating videos to just pluck up the curiosity of people and provide them with questions that they can actually use to become more introspective and learn more about themselves. I'm not gonna impose my reality and my experiences upon others, because each and everyone has come to experience their own truths. Imposing your own truths upon others is nothing else than being a kind of how to put this, oh yes, a kind of a little tormentor or dictator or whatever you want to call it. Okay, so all this being said, have fun, enjoy life, become more introspective and do the work. Take care of yourself and of your closed ones, and as usual, you are loved and appreciated. Hugs, Ferenc on board, signing out.